Hey everyone, welcome to Thunderhill Raceway in Willows, California for the introduction of the long-awaited 2017 Yamaha R6. It's been over a decade since we saw a new R6. 2006 was when the third generation body style was introduced. Little revision in 08. Ever since then, it's been the same bike. 2017, Yamaha has finally brought a quote-unquote new R6 to the table. Now, what makes it new is the bodywork you see here that's been inspired by the R1 and even the M1 MotoGP bike. As far as mechanical things go, the forks are from the R1 with different valving for the R6. There's a bigger front axle, 25 millimeter, that's 3 mil bigger than the previous bike. Yamaha says that actually made the rigidity on the front end too stiff for what they wanted to do. So the way they compensated for that was to take some material out of the lower triple clamp to get that feel that they wanted. The first thing you see with the R6 is the new styling, and let's talk about that first. Like I said, it's inspired by the R1 with the headlights down low, small headlights, the big air intake in the nose, very similar to the R1. Yamaha says, compared to the previous R6, this shape, this body style, these fairings with the rider in a tuck actually reduces aero drag by 8% on the new bike compared to the last bike. Another thing they did too was they raised the lip here with the seat tank junction. They raised this lip about 5 millimeter compared to the previous bike so that the rider isn't pushed forward into the tank as much as before. They also narrowed the middle section of the seat 8 millimeter to make it a little bit easier to touch the ground. The rider triangle and the seat height is the same as the previous bike, and sitting on it, it feels the same. If you were to give me a blindfold and put me on old bike and new bike, I really would have a hard time telling the difference. So enough with the styling and the seat and stuff. Let's go on the racetrack and see how it does.
Let's start with the engine. The same old 600 as the last R6, but I'm not complaining. Woo! Yeah, buddy. This engine's a screamer, man. And this one just seems to, I don't know, it's a little bit more tractable in the bottom end. But I could just be imagining things. What I do know is damn, this bike is fun to ride. Elbow down, woo!
All right, so let's talk performance. Now, the elephant in the room here is the engine. Yamaha has made no mention previously about an all-new engine, any modifications to it, nothing. And we've confirmed during this press event that yes, indeed, the engine on this 2017 R6 is the same as the one in the 2016 and the previous generation R6. But what they did do is they did add a little bit of electronics borrowed from the R1. There's traction control, there's a quickshifter that's optional, but the TC, unlike the R1, does not operate off of an IMU. It just operates strictly off of wheel speed sensors. There's 6 settings plus off, so 7 settings. It's not really a bad thing that it's the same engine as before because this thing rips. There's good tractable power down low for an inline 4 600, and then this thing just screams once you get up top. You know, the tach here says redline is about 16.5. The power tapers off when you get to about 16,000, but from 8 to 16, holy moly, it rips for a 600. It just makes it a really fun bike to ride for the 600 class. The other bikes in the 600 category were already losing to this bike anyway. The R6 previously has won, I think Yamaha said 97% of Moto America Super Sport and Super Stock 600 races. So you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And what they did was just put a good package in the engine back in this new bike. So the engine's the same, The frame's the same. You shave some weight with the gas tank itself. This is aluminum compared to steel on the previous bike. Lobs off 2.7 pounds, I think they said. The 2017 R6 has ABS that always stays on. You can't defeat it unless you take out the fuse. And so to add the ABS, they had to have a little bit more weight, and so they had to take off weight somewhere else. The spec tires that come on this bike are from Bridgestone, the S21, but the S21 tires you would get on this are 800 grams lighter than the just standard S21 Bridgestones you would buy off the dealership floor. So weight was a concern here, and they shaved off where they could to make this bike weigh about the same as the previous bike. Well, they had a 2016 R6 here to ride back to back with this 2017. I only got 3 laps on that bike, and really, man, it's hard to tell a difference. You'd really have to ride the bikes back to back to even start to feel a difference. And I mean, yeah, maybe that front end on the other older bike is a little bit more vague compared to the precision of the 2017 bike. But again, if you give me the blindfold test and put me back to back on the bikes, well, one, I'd crash because I couldn't see where I was going, but I probably wouldn't tell a difference. It's that close. Where I do tell a difference though is with the front brake. Yamaha changed the master cylinder in the front to a Nissin unit from Brembo before, because we would always complain about wooden feeling brakes on the previous bike. And so they changed it to a Nissin master cylinder in the front. And now I do think it's a definite step in the right direction. More feel from the front. Stopping power is pretty good. You know, it wasn't bad before, just before had worse feel. So yeah, and that's where I think the bigger difference comes between the old bike and the new bike. The front end feel, it's super close. But yeah, overall, the new R6 is a step above the old R6, but we're talking like a minuscule amount. With the same engine, a very similar feeling front end, slightly different brakes, which does make a difference in my opinion. You do get ABS, you do get traction control on the new bike. I barely touched it because of the race rubber they put on these bikes for our test here. So we'll have to wait till we get back and really can test this bike back home to see how the TC works. But yeah, if you're looking for a 600cc bike and you don't already have one, be hard pressed to find something better than this. However, already got an R6, I wouldn't trade it in for the new one personally, unless you just like the way it looks. So let's talk about pricing. The new Yamaha R6, $12,199. And it comes in 3 colors. There's this white you see here, there's the Yamaha blue, and there's a black option. So that's it. That's my quick impression of the 2017 Yamaha R6. Be sure to go to Motorcycle.com and read my full review there. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page, and we'll see you next time.